Hi, and welcome to the Furiously Knit podcast. My name is Wendi, and I am a knitter in Chicago, and behind me is Nova. And we are here today with a roundup of everything that I knit in 2025. I really look forward to this time every year when all of the knitters that I follow start posting everything that they knit during the year. And I just find it really comforting to rot on my couch during my winter break from school and just get my fill of all of the knitting that everyone has been working on. So I did not film one of these for 2024, but I did film one in 2023, and I had a really good time doing that. So I decided to go ahead and do it again this year. And I will be going in chronological order from January of 2025 on down through the months of the year. I initially, when I was pulling my knits out to film this video, I thought that I was not going to have very much to show, but turns out that's not the case. Once I had it all out and organized, I realized that I had done a lot more knitting than I thought I did, which is awesome. And I'm pretty impressed with myself, and I am proud of how much knitting that I managed to get done. Um, it is a little heavier on the summer garments than sweaters, and I think that's mostly because, well, summer garments are typically quicker to knit, but also as a teacher, I knit a lot during my summer break. So when I have a lot of knitting time, I just get more done. So that makes sense. But I do have several sweaters, several summer tops, and not many accessories, which is very different from my previous years of knitting. I almost always have at least a few hats and pairs of socks thrown in to the mix, but not this year. I have one tiny scarf, one pair of socks, and that's it for the accessories. So we are going to be looking at mostly garments today, and I will not be going into a lot of detail about most of them because I have talked about most of them on previous podcast episodes. So if you're interested in anything in more detail, you can go ahead and check out my previous podcasts, and you'll find a lot more information there. So let's get into it. I started out the year with my sweater number 23, and I'm going to put this microphone down and just show you. I knit this in Woolfolk 2, which is spelled Tage, but it's pronounced 2. And I just learned, I didn't know this before, but I just learned that the meaning of that word is, it means fog in English, which I thought was very appropriate. It is a very lightweight, fuzzy, fluffy yarn. So that's a little bit of introduction to this sweater, and now I'm just going to go to the try-ons and I'll give you more information there. We started the year off strong with my sweater number 23. I knit this in Woolfolk 2, and I decided to knit this pattern with that particular yarn because I saw Millie from What Millie Makes knit the same sweater in the same yarn, and she was talking about how lightweight the fabric was, lightweight and drapey. So I totally copied her. I did have the yarn in stash. I bought it for a previous project that did not work out, and I frogged it, and I hated the experience of knitting with that yarn, with this yarn, on on that first project that I initially bought it for. So it was sitting in my stash, and I was just really not sure if I was going to use that yarn. And then I saw Millie's beautiful sweater number 23, and I decided that I wanted the same thing. So I love the big boxy fit of this sweater. I did have some moments of panic as I was knitting it because it's it's so wide. At least it looked, I mean, it is so wide, but I feel like when it's worn on the body, it's not as dramatic. It's reasonable. So I love the boxy fit. I love the shoulder details. I just think that's so pretty. Yeah, so this one was a hit for sure. I wore it a ton. It's really nice for super cold Chicago winter days. I do remember also wearing this in the early spring at my daughter's track meets, which begin in April. And it's typically still freezing cold at that point in time. And last year it was snowing. So this was a great sweater to have for even into early spring. It just really works with the Chicago weather. And I did notice when I pulled it out to film that I have a hole, which I suspect is due to a cat. So I will have to repair that. I think that this yarn wears really well. I don't notice pilling. It does have mohair content, so that may be part of it, but yeah, it still looks really good. And I did wear it quite a bit, so it's not like it's been sitting in my closet, not having the opportunity to get pilled. So I, again, really disliked the experience of knitting with this yarn. It kept getting caught in my needle tips and slowing me down and making me feel like I was tearing the yarn, similar to like a boucle if you're knitting with a boucle yarn. So I didn't love that, but I do love the finished object, and it is soft enough to wear. I have underneath right now, I have a scoop neck tee, and it is not itchy. You can definitely feel it, but it's not itchy to me. I am also not someone who's super sensitive. I can wear most mohairs with no problem, and alpaca actually bothers me more than mohair. So this for me is next to skin soft. Um, Maybe it wouldn't be for everybody, but I love the shape. I love the fit. I love how it kind of stands out a little bit from my body, and I would love to have another one. I don't know if I'll get to it this year because I have many other plans, but yeah, my 2025 started off really strong with this one, and I love her. Number 2 for 2025 was this guy, which I call my Mio Mai sweater. It was based on the Mio Mai Tee pattern by Park Williams of Park and Knit. And I think initially I did plan to knit the t-shirt, which is a short sleeve tee. And I just realized that this yarn, even though it has a pretty significant silk content, was definitely not going to be a summer yarn for me. So I switched gears and I decided to just make it into a sweater. I believe I modified the collar. I think I added some ribbing at the collar. I don't remember if the pattern calls for ribbing or not. And this was a sweater that I started in 2022 and put it away at some point. colors on this one are just incredible. I think that I put it in hibernation because I just wasn't sure if it was going to turn out the way that I wanted it to. Hi, editing Wendi here. I just remembered that this pattern is knit from the bottom up. So that may have been a factor in why I did put it away for so long. It was the first time I'd knit anything bottom up, and it was not my favorite. So I didn't really love that construction, and I think that that was a major reason that I just got sick of it and shoved it in my closet. So I just wanted to pop that in here because it just occurred to me that that's what this construction was. I picked it back up late last year and realized how cool it is. This is by far my most complimented knit. It has to do with these colors. The colors are so beautiful. This yarn, I think this yarn is discontinued, or at least in this colorway, because I can't find it anywhere. I also just realized I don't think I mentioned what this yarn is. This is the Noro Yucata in the colorway Fukuoka. And I think it's discontinued, which is sad because it is a really beautiful colorway, but I cannot find it anywhere anymore. So thankfully we have a lot of other really gorgeous Noro colorways, which is a shame because it's really, really beautiful. And it was wonderful to knit with. I loved the knitting experience. I have other Noro yarns that I have used that are not a pleasant knitting experience because of the way that they twist. And this one did have some twisting, but I don't remember it being as significant as my other Noro yarns. So this is the striping on the front. I did manage the stripes on the front because you can see on the back that the stripes up near the top are wider than the ones down at the bottom because of knitting flat for the upper part of the back and then joining in the round for the lower part of the body. I didn't mind it on the back, but I didn't want to have the different thicknesses of stripes on the front. So I did some yarn management for that, and I think it turned out pretty well. I did not manage my yarn on the sleeves, so you can see that the stripes are wider on the sleeves. And honestly, I don't really think that it's even that noticeable on the back. So yeah, this one turned out, despite the fact that it was a sloppy knit on my part, it was kind of a chaos knit, to be totally honest. I think you might not be able to tell, but the arms are different lengths. I did a terrible job of picking up stitches at the shoulder. It bunches a little bit in places, which I think is all down to the way that I picked up the stitches for the sleeves. So yeah, there's some weird bunching. It looks kind of funky right here. My ribbing is sloppy, but despite all of that, I love how this turned out. I wear this all the time. The yarn is wearing beautifully. There's no pilling. There's no pilling really at all. Hopefully you can see that. This is, it kind of reminds me of an art teacher's sweater, something that an art teacher would wear, but it's also perfect for my job as a kindergarten teacher. It feels very teachery. It feels and looks kind of rustic. The yarn is gorgeous, has a gorgeous drape. I think this is marketed as a DK weight yarn, and it definitely is in places. It's also worsted in places. I would argue that it goes up to like bulky in places, and then also all the way down to fingering / lace in some places. So it's very thick and thin. I think that it works because it also gives it some nice texture. Not too much texture with the stripes. I think that would be too much going on, but Yeah, I think it's great. I love this sweater. I wear it a lot. And every time I do, I get people just like gushing about it. I love the colorway. It reminds me of the 90s in like the best possible way. It reminds me of striped shirts that I wore in high school in the 90s. So I love that for me. I love this yarn. I love this sweater. And this is when I could not handle winter any longer. And I decided that I had to cast on something for spring. So this is the first warm weather knit of 2025. This is the Floodlight Tee by Tanis Fiber Arts. And I believe this pattern calls for a fingering and a mohair. The pattern has, across the yoke, it has stripes of mohair, basically, which I opted not to do, and I just knit the entire thing in a fingering weight yarn. This is the Grenouille Fiber Company's sock linen base. So it is a merino and linen blend. This yarn was a special gift from my partner, I think for my birthday in 2024, maybe for Christmas. But I had 2 skeins of it, and I knew that it was too pretty to use for socks. The yarn is insanely gorgeous. It is so soft, and it was a pleasure to knit with. And I really think it made the perfect spring top. I did a modification. There is in the back, there's a keyhole opening, and in the pattern, she has it fastened with a little button. And I opted not to do that just because I didn't want to be fiddling with a button. And this neckline is a boat neck, which I don't typically go for. I don't like boat necks on myself, but I knew that the neckline was wide enough that I did not need to have a button that I was fastening and unfastening to get this on and off. So I left the keyhole because I think that was a cute design element, and just knitted it closed. So this one is perfect for when it starts to warm up in Chicago, but it's not super warm yet. It's great for the springtime and part of the summer. And I even wore it this fall with a little shirt jacket. Sorry, I'm gonna have to edit this. The Space Cadet. I love to wear this with a denim shirt jacket that I have that I'm going to put on over it just so that you can see how I style it. So let me throw that on. Okay, so this is how I typically wear this one when it's still chilly outside in the spring. And this is how I wore it in the fall as well. It's great under a denim jacket or a shirt jacket. And I think that the blue and the green complement each other nicely. So yeah, this is how I typically wear this one. I am going to take this off now so I can give you a better view of the yarn. The colors of this yarn are really pretty. I was worried about color pooling because it is a hand-dyed variegated yarn, but I didn't have any issues with that, at least not to the point of it looking bad in any way. I think that the fabric knitted up really beautifully. There are a few areas of white in the front that are they're much more noticeable on camera than they are in person. I will say that much. So yeah, this one did grow a little bit when I blocked it and just as I'm wearing it. So it's slightly longer than I typically knit my stuff because I always have high-waisted jeans on. So I don't know if it's going to continue to grow and stretch, but it's not enough for it to bother me. I did love how the sleeves have no finishing. It's just a bind off. Is it? Wait, did I do an I-cord? No, I did an applied I-cord. I lied. I was worried about curling, even with the I-cord, but the curling is minimal. I did ribbing on the hem. I cannot remember if that was a modification. It may have been because of my fears about curling, but the sleeves don't curl very much. And I think I must have done the applied I-cord around the collar as well. So yeah, this was another hit of 2025. I really love this. I loved the pattern. It was really fun to knit up, and I really hope that Grenouille Yarn Company starts releasing yarn again in 2026, because they are my favorite indie dyer, and I am just obsessed with their colorways. So here's hoping we get more Grenouille fiber in 2026. I would also love to knit something else in this base, another spring or summer top, just because it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm obsessed. My next warm weather knit was the Cloud Top by Petiteknit. And I knit this up in Sandnes Garn Line, which is one of my absolute favorite summer yarns. And this is the color dark gray. I did not do any major modifications. I did knit the rolled edge of the neckline and the armholes 1 or 2 rows less than she calls for in the pattern, just because I wanted to be able to wear necklaces with it without my necklaces I wanted my necklaces to be able to lay flat and not have a bump at the collar to have to like navigate. And this was hands down by far my most worn knit of the year. I wore this constantly in the summer. I will definitely be knitting another one in a different color for this upcoming spring and summer. It's just insanely versatile. I sometimes will wear a cami under it. I have a camisole under it right now, and I'm not going to show you my armpits because not for free, honey. But even when I don't wear a cami under it, it's my bra will sometimes show a little bit, but it's nothing major. I usually wear dark bras anyway, so they don't really show that much. But I do think that if I knit another one this year, I will be making the arm holes a little bit smaller. So yeah, I wore this a lot over dresses. Which is really fun because then you have not only a dress, but then it also looks like you have a skirt. So it just gives you more outfit options and more styling options. I have a reel on my Instagram that is basically a showcase of all the different ways that I wore this, and that's really fun. I'll see if I can figure out a way to put it in here. But I did get a new phone over the summer, and I don't think I have that saved on this phone, but I am sure that I can figure that out. But yes, cloud top, definitely an obsession. And I would knit this over and over and over again in every possible color. And I am also planning to knit the cloud sweater. I have not decided on the yarn for that yet, but I just love the look of this design so much that I would love to have a sweater, have the sweater version as well. The Sandnes Garn Line wears like a dream. I always machine wash this, and I was noticing that it was stretching a little bit, sort of midway through the summer, as a summer yarn will do, and I threw it in the dryer, and it came out perfectly. It was softer It was even drapier. It tightened up so that I had my original fit back, and it was just like magic. This yarn is magical, okay? This is the Lino, which is the DK weight version, but I am very interested in knitting with the tin Lina held double for future DK weight summer garments, just because I love this yarn so much. And I've heard really good things about holding the tin Lina double as well. So cloud top, 1000 out of 10. Absolutely a favorite and just incredible. Just this still continues to make me so happy. I also wear it as a slip over. I wear it over long sleeve tees. You could wear it over blouses. You could wear it if you have one of those like super cute, trendy sheer long sleeve tops that are all the rage these days. You could wear it over that. I actually do have one. Looks really cute. I could totally wear this over that for the colder weather. So highly recommend the cloud top, and definitely way up at the top of my list of favorite knits of 25. Look at my holes. Look at all my holes. Continuing along in our summer knit journey of 2025, this is the Look at My Holes Boxy by James and Watts, and this was a test knit that I did for James this year, and I love it as much. No, I love it more than the original Look at My Holes. This is basically just a rectangle that you knit and then you seam it up with another rectangle. You just like seam it together at the shoulders and you leave an opening for your head. And I knit this in kelbourne woolens mojave in the color natural. And I know I just raved about the Sandnes Garn Line as one of my top summer yarns, but the kelbourne woolens mojave is another favorite. I've knit several summer tops in this yarn and it's just perfect. It's not itchy at all. It is super drapey. It's very lightweight. It's very cool. So it's really good for like the hottest of summer days. So yeah, I love the fit of this one. It's really fun to wear it. This is how I typically wear it. I usually wear it over a black cami. It's really fun over like a little black dress, a little black tank dress. Very cute. Obviously, it's super cute at the beach or the street fest, or a picnic or any of your outdoor activities when it is really warm outside. So yeah, this is another one that I would love to knit again. I just love the shape of this one because I love something about me is I love a box top. And I remember talking about this on whatever podcast episode it was that I was talking about this as a finished object. I am obsessed with boxy tops and I have been for a long time. So this just checks so many boxes for me. I mean, look at this box. But it looks so cool. It just looks so cool. And I love it. It is a tricky one to wear around my cats for obvious reasons, but it's very easy to style. It's super easy to wear. You might not think so. A mesh top, it's very easy to style. Throw it over a tank top, throw it over a camisole, throw it over your swimsuit. So, God, this is making me miss summer. This is making me really sad as I look outside at the snow and the ice on the ground. But it is also getting me very jazzed for more summer knitting. I am a knitter who really, really loves knitting for spring and summer. And I know that that's not everybody, and I totally understand that. But I actually have surprised myself in the last few summers by how often I actually wear my knits in the summertime. So I love that for me. If you also love summer knitting, I love that for you too. Let's do more of that. Okay, I need to back up a little bit because before I finished my Look at My Holes Boxy, which was later in the spring, I finished this top in June. But let's go back to April when I was having an absolute meltdown about wintertime and just being so done with cold weather. I was craving something bright and springy and fun, and I decided to cast on a tiny scarf. Hang on, let me put this mic down for a second and I'll show you up close. Okay. This is the Partyline scarf by Kaci Apple of Youngfolk Knits. And I knit this with a skein of hand-dyed yarn by Britty Rae. I'll put that in down below. Britty Rae, I do not remember the colorway. It is a single ply merino, very, very soft. And I had spring fever and I was just dying for it to get warm and for us to be able to wear like frivolous little tiny neck scarves instead of polar fleece neck warmers and giant winter parkas. So yeah, this was super quick to knit, knit it up in a day or two. It really was a nice palette cleanser and it really got me excited for spring. I thought that these colors were just super cute. And I don't wear it as much as I should. I actually lost it for a long time. I finished it and then it disappeared. And I have no idea where it was because when I found it, it was in a place where it had not been. Like it was not there and then suddenly it was there. So it was very strange. I don't know if it fell behind something and then somebody found it. I don't know. But I couldn't find it. I really thought that I had lost it and I could not figure out how that could have happened. But so I haven't worn it a lot. I've worn it just a couple times. I was actually thinking the other day though that I needed something like this. Maybe not this one because it's lacy and airy, but a thicker, slightly woollier version of a tiny scarf would be nice. I have a particular coat that kind of comes up close on the neck, so I don't want to wear like a giant scarf with it, but something like this would be nice. I wouldn't wear this one in the wintertime, but in the spring, it's great when it's still a little bit chilly or a little bit breezy. Yeah, it's actually kind of looking like a turtleneck right now, but you know, you could style this and make it cuter. The pattern was really fun and engaging, and I loved knitting it. I love the colors. My daughter saw it and was like, "Oh, that's so pretty." And it is. It's very pretty. And if you are in the mood for a tiny scarf that is not the Sophie scarf, although I do love a Sophie scarf, this is a nice option if you felt like doing something with it's just a little bit more engaging with the lace. I really recommend this pattern. It's adorable. I love her and I'm glad that she reappeared from wherever she was. Next up we have my Boden top by Caidree. This was another summer knit that I was very excited to cast on. I knit this in the Wandering Flocks cotton lino in the color Pyrite. And I don't typically tuck my stuff in. I just thought I would pretend like I'm a millennial for this segment. Also, this one did come out a little bit longer than I was expecting. So maybe the tuck isn't such a terrible idea. But I just typically wear it out like this. So I was super excited about knitting with this yarn. The cotton lino was, I feel like talked up a lot last year by knitters that I follow, and it is for good reason. It's gorgeous. It is a gorgeous yarn. I love the drape of it. I love the color range that it comes in. This pyrite is right up my alley. However, I didn't wear this very much because the yarn has alpaca in the fiber content, and it was just too warm for me to wear when it was warm outside. So I kind of I definitely knit a summer top in a yarn that did not turn out to be a summer yarn for me. And it is still wearable because I can throw a cardigan or a jacket on over it. Actually, this little work jacket that I have is really cute over it. So that actually does, that works and it's cute. But I cannot wear this on, I can't really wear this on its own as a summer top when it is warm outside, when it's very warm outside. I think I didn't have this in the spring last year. I finished this midsummer. So I do think that when spring comes this year, I will probably get more wear out of it. But definitely when I finished it last year, it was the height of summer. So I didn't wear it very much. It was a little bit itchy. I am a little sensitive to alpaca, and I didn't really take that into consideration when I chose to knit this top with this particular yarn. However, I love the yarn, and I would love to have a sweater in this yarn. I don't know what the right pattern would be, but it's just super soft, very drapey. I apologize for the wrinkles. It's been folded up in my closet since last summer, but I mean, overall, it feels great right now. But I know when it gets hot, it will not feel great. I remember filming a podcast in it at the end of the summer, and I was like dying, very uncomfortable. So yeah, I do. This pattern was very fun to knit. I would love to knit another one. I would probably opt for the Kelbourne woolens mojave, I think, if I could get Gauge with that. Another thing about this pattern is that it grew a little bit, so it feels a little big on, no, but it doesn't look too big, does it? I think it looks fine. But I do remember feeling like, oh, I could have knit a size down. It's fine. I do remember thinking at one point, like, oh, I should have knit a size down. But I think it's actually good that I didn't do that, because that would have just brought the alpaca closer to my skin. So it would have been even more prickly. So turns out it's good that I didn't knit a size down. And actually, I mean, it's possible that I gained a couple pounds. It does not look too big right now. So, okay. We'll see what happens in the spring. I definitely would love to knit with this yarn again and do myself a nice little sweater for cooler weather, because although this is a summer yarn, it doesn't really work for a summer yarn for me. So, and I should have known that, honestly. I know what alpaca does, so you live, you learn. But I do love this base, and I would absolutely knit this pattern again with a different yarn. Okay, before I talk about my next top, I did want to mention that there's definitely pilling happening along the underarm of my Boden top. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but I was just sitting here like pulling some pills off, and I thought, oh wait, I should probably show them. Pilling is not an issue that I have, very often. No, this side looks okay. There's a little bit of pilling. Ah! So yeah, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. for a top that oh yeah, now I can really see it in another spot. This is along the hem. Definitely some pills. Okay, well, that's good to know. I will definitely be keeping an eye on that when I start. Oh, see? Can you see that? Little bit hanging off here. So yeah, I will definitely keep an eye on that when I pull it out again in the spring and start wearing it. That might influence my desire to knit another item in that yarn. So we'll see about that. Let me get my notes up for this one. This is the Thea top, Thea by Suzanne Muller. And I knit this one in Drops Bell, and I was very excited to try Drops Bell. A lot of knitters compare it to Sandnes Garn Line and say that they are very similar. And you know I love my Line. So I was excited to try the Drops Bell, and I really, really like it. The Thea top is a tank top. I think that I widened the sleeves or the shoulders a little bit just to get more coverage. I may have widened them a little too much. They do kind of come out. This one especially, I think you can see that it kind of, the ribbing part of it kind of flares up a little bit instead of lying down flat. It's not really a big deal. I did not love this pattern. I like the finished object, but I don't love it. And I did wear it, but mostly on days when I felt sloppy and I didn't care if I looked sloppy, if that makes sense. It's cropped in a way that might be a little bit too cropped for me, which also probably affected how often I wore it or what I wore it with. But yeah, it's a nice basic to have in the summer. It's not something that I was excited about wearing. I don't love the shape. I don't love the fit, but it's not awful. It's not a definite no. I do wish that I had made it slightly longer. I think I was playing yarn chicken. Um, so yeah, I don't know. This one is kind of meh. This is kind of mid. I don't feel like it's particularly flattering. That's okay. It's just a summer top, it's just a little summer top to throw on. I would throw this on to go to the garden. I wouldn't really put this on if I was going somewhere that I wanted to look kind of nice, but it serves its purpose. It's just sort of a meh sort of summer knit. But what I did learn from this is that I really like Drops Bell, and it is a super affordable yarn that I would definitely use again for future summer knits. It is a DK weight, so it would work for lots of different patterns, and yeah, I wouldn't wear it in the hottest humid days, but it'd be fine most of the time. So solid yarn, pretty color. I knit this in the colorway, what is it, 7? Sorry, I have my notes down here on my laptop. Color 7. And next to that I have zinc, question mark. So I don't know if the color name is zinc or if I just was imagining that, but it is color number 7. It's a really pretty purpley gray, and then it has a little bit of marling in it. It's got a little, I don't think you're going to be able to see, but it's got a little sort of reddish pink marling in it. Sometimes it looks gray, sometimes it looks purple, sometimes it looks pink somehow. So yeah, the Thea top, not a hit, but also not a absolutely not. So we do love drop spell. That's the conclusion. I think this was my last summer knit. This was my last ditch effort to hold on to the warm weather. This is the Ivy top by Petiteknit. And this ended up being a darling of a summer top. I knitted off gauge and what did I do? I knitted off gauge. Oh, and so it was off gauge, but I also did not want it to have negative ease. Oh, why did my ankle keep popping? You guys can probably hear that. Okay, I'm gonna edit that out. So what did I do? I knit this off gauge, and also I didn't want it to have negative ease. The pattern calls for an inch or two of negative ease, which I didn't want that. Partly because, maybe mostly because, with a summer top, I don't want it right up on me. I need a little bit of ease, and especially this one with a mock neck that comes up a little bit. It's also a thicker fabric, which I will get into in just a minute. So I fussed with the gauge and I fussed with the sizing. I was not sure at all if my calculations would pay off, but they did. So I have a few inches of positive ease, maybe 6-ish, maybe 6 inches of positive ease, which was perfect. I knit this in kelbourne woolens mojave in the colorway electric blue. And then this was very exciting for me. I held that with a strand of cotton yarn that I salvaged from a thrift store sweater. So I thrifted this gorgeous deep teal cotton, 100% cotton sweater, and I unraveled it and I salvaged the yarn. And so I knit it, I held it with the kelbourne woolen so you can see the marling, which looks pretty cool. I wore the hell out of this top at the end of the summer. I wore it to every function, barbecue, party, gathering, cookout. I love it so much. I think the color is amazing and the fit is amazing. It's perfect. And I'm not usually a girl who goes for a mock neck, but this one is incredible. It works amazingly well. The arm holes are exactly the right depth. Nothing shows. The length is perfect. I can't. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. Every time, it is so cute with a slip skirt, like a lacy, like if you go to the thrift store and you thrift a half slip. So cute. So cute. That's actually what I'm wearing in my finished object photos on Ravelry. Just a white slip skirt actually belonged to my daughter, but I was like, you know what? This would be perfect. Yoink. But obviously also like high-waisted jeans, amazing. 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 So yeah, the Ivy top, huge hit. Huge hit. It was one of those ones that as you're knitting it, I had no idea if it was going to turn out the way that I wanted it to. I didn't know if it was going to fit me. I changed the gauge and I did so much knitting math to try to make it fit, and it somehow worked. And I'm speechless. I can't. This is one of those items that it makes you so proud. I'm so proud of this one. And this is also something that, because it's a DK weight held with a lace weight, basically, it is like a worsted-ish weight, I would say, which means that I could wear it when it's cooler if I wear a jacket over it, or like a little shirt, or like a denim jacket, or whatever, cardigan. Um, I haven't done that yet. I don't think I have a color that would look perfect with it. Although I do have a black. Maybe that's a lie. I have a washed black denim jacket that would be really cute over this. So yeah, love it so much. Love it. Love it. Okay, that brings us to fall, early fall, late summer / early fall. This is a test knit for James and Watts. This is the Look at My Holes drop shoulder sweater. And when I saw him give us a little sneaky peek on his YouTube channel, I immediately wanted to test this for him. So I'm so excited that I had the opportunity to do that. I knit this in, it's a worsted gauge. I knit it in Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the color Pea Coat, which is this beautiful navy color. And it was a really quick knit because of the gauge and because of worsted weight and this mesh pattern. And I love it as a pattern. I love the finished object. I find it very tricky to wear because I want, and it may be because I chose such a dark color. So here's my issue. It has holes in it, so you can't wear it when it's cold. I could wear it like this with a little camisole under it, and you can see the pattern, you can see the holes, you can see the mesh. Okay, that's fine. However, it is a worsted weight 100% wool yarn. So when I'm wearing it like this, so I just basically, this is the problem. I don't know what temperature to wear this with, to wear this at. If it's cold, I could wear a long sleeve under it. Wait, I think I just solved my own problem. If I wear a long sleeved under it, it just needs to be like a beige or like a color that matches my skin tone. Because then you'll be able to see the mesh and you will not see my underwear. But you'll be able to see the mesh and I will be warm enough because I will have a long sleeve. Okay. I don't know why I couldn't figure this out before. I don't know, sometimes you just got to talk through it, right? Anyway, so this is a really fun pattern. It was really fun to work up. I love this yarn. It was fun to knit something in a navy. I really love the color navy blue, and I don't often knit with it, so that was nice. The pattern is well written, like all of his patterns, and it made me really happy to be able to knit this one after testing the Look at My Holes Boxy and also knitting like the original version of the Look at My Holes. It just felt really good and really kind of coming full circle to be able to knit this one as well. So I do highly recommend this pattern if you can figure out a way to wear it. Super fun. I could have definitely sized up. I think I knit the extra small, and typically I'm more of a small / medium. So I could have sized up. It did grow with blocking though, so it was a little bit snug before I blocked it, and now it's okay. So yeah, but Look at My Holes. So yeah, this is the Look at My Holes drop sleeve sweater by James N. Watts. Okay, my next knit for fall was the Ivy sweater by Petiteknit. And I wanted to knit this one because I had such a great experience knitting the Ivy top that I knew I needed to knit the sweater as well. I knit this sweater in Isayer Soft, which is one of the yarns that Petiteknit recommends in the pattern. And I knit this in the color lavender. This is a blown yarn with a blend of cotton and alpaca. So it's very lightweight and super, super soft. I didn't love the knitting experience. It was one of those yarns that gets caught in your needle tips and is just like a little bit tricky to knit with. But the finished product is an absolute dream. Next to skin soft, super cozy. It is not overly warm, which I probably because of the cotton content. So even with the alpaca in it, it is not too warm. It has the same mock neck as the Ivy top. Psst, psst, psst. Nova. He's being naughty. Okay, I lost my train of thought. Oh, the mock neck. It has a little mock neck, has very clean, minimal lines, which I love, and I have been getting a lot of wear out of it over the winter break. It's super cozy. It's kind of like pulling on a super warm, fleecy sweatshirt. So this one is wonderful. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because I did go over this in my last podcast. So if you're interested in that, you can go check that out where I talk about it in more detail. I do want to say though that I love this yarn so much. And initially I didn't because I didn't love the process of knitting with it. So I was kind of like grumping about this yarn. Like, I hate this yarn. I love this yarn. I love it. I love it. I will be knitting something else with this yarn. I'm thinking I do want to do another sweater number 23. I think that this would work for a sweater number 23. I could also do the cloud sweater by Petiteknit, and I think that would work. So I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm considering. However, I will absolutely be using this yarn again. It is a cozy, soft, absolute dream. And one last sweater for 2025. This is the Lose sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl. It's a beautiful textured. This is her Andalusian stitch on the top half and then stockinette on the bottom. This is a DK weight sweater, and I knit mine in Cascade 220 fingering, held with Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. This is another one that I'm not going to talk too much about because I just discussed it in my most recent podcast. But this was my end of the year final big garment. I actually I tested this for Sophie last winter and did not finish it. I don't know why I didn't finish it. I shoved it away. It went into hibernation all year. And about a month ago, I pulled it out. I had forgotten about it, but I was going through my abandoned whips and I pulled it out and I had to finish one sleeve and then knit the second sleeve and it would be done. So I was like, this is ridiculous. Why didn't I? And the sweater is gorgeous. I have no idea. I have no idea why it took me so long, but I decided that I was going to finish it for my holiday sweater for this year. So that's what I did. I wore it to some holiday gatherings, and it's absolutely gorgeous. The cascade fingering and the soft silk mohair is a really beautiful fabric, and it's very warm. It's perfect for winter, and I'm really happy to have this. Hey. So yeah, I'm really happy that I finished it. It fits really well. It is a compound raglan. I talk a little bit in my last podcast about how I fucked up while doing the compound raglan, but it doesn't seem to really have affected the fit. So yeah, this is the loose sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl. It's beautiful and gorgeous and amazing. I would have preferred if I'd not knit it quite so long, but whatever. So yeah, this was a nice note to end the year on by finishing such a gorgeous garment, and it made me really happy to get it done. Okay, and finally, I did almost zero knitting for myself in December because I was busy with gift knits, which I do not have because I gifted them. But the one that I did want to show you is this pair of socks that I knit for my partner. This is the first pair of socks I've ever knit for him, and I used a mud punch colorway with a contrast heel and toe, and they look really funny because he just washed them. They're actually wet right now. I should have pulled out my sock blockers for him, but you get the general idea. This is just a vanilla sock. They look ridiculously big. But yeah, it was my first time knitting with the Mud Punch self-striping sock yarn, and I really loved it. I have another skein in my stash, so I will be using that to knit a pair of socks for myself. But yeah, this was the very last knit of 2025. Was his he had asked for fun socks for Christmas, and I think these are very fun. And somehow, miraculously, they fit him perfectly. I asked him for the measurement of his foot. I don't really think he realized what I was doing because even though I was knitting in front of him for most of the month, I don't think he realized that I was working on something for him. So he was very surprised on Christmas morning when he opened them, and he put them on immediately and they fit perfectly. So I don't know how that happened, but I'm glad it did. And that's that for 2025. If you stuck around for the entire video, thank you. You are a champion. I know that I personally really love watching these end of the year wrap ups, so I hope that you enjoyed seeing everything I knit this year. I do think it's funny how I was convinced that I didn't knit very much this year for some reason. And I don't know why I thought that because this is a lot of knitting. I have a huge pile of garments here. So thank you for sticking here through the whole thing. Thank you for watching my channel. I really appreciate you being here. And I hope that you have a very happy beginning to your 2026. And see you next time.